YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host TKK. We are back with another video. In today's video, guys, we're going to be unboxing this brand new MSI RTX 4090 graphics card. This is a gaming trio. We're gonna have some discussional time too about the topics of graphics cards. I'm going to try to get right to the point of this so that this is an enjoyable watch. Hopefully we can keep this video around 12 minutes or so. Let's see how we do. So gonna open this up, and then in this box, this is a RTX 2080 Super. I actually have a lower card GPU in this. We'll have some talking points collectively within this video about what kind of graphics card you should be going after. This card right here that I'm unwrapping right now is going to go into a combination of Ryzen 9 7950X. This is currently AMD's brand new technology. It's the pinnacle, the flagship, strongest processor out there that is on the consumer grade market right now. Intel, the other company, I'm going to use cars as an analogy. If AMD is Ford, then Intel is Chevy, right? However you want to take that. Two companies make the same thing. Intel also has a processor coming out. Their flagship pinnacle is going to be the 13900K i9. I would be shooting for that also. Historically, you've went with Intel because Intel, along with the graphics cards, have produced a more fluid frame rate, and AMD was the chipset that you went with because of them having more cores, which made them better work task PCs for things like video rendering, things of that sort, right? We got to a time where AMD just did a good enough job where there was a diminish of return versus Intel with what you would be paying for Intel, kind of like your S95B versus your A95K. Most people are going to say that they would rather get the S95B because it costs so much less and you get so much of the core features that make the Alpha 95 King, which I call it the Alpha 95 King. Say it with me, Alpha 95 King. You know, they feel like, hey, I don't need to spend $1,500, $2,500, $2,000 more, whatever the difference of cost. And so AMD has a great reputation of offering you that. Me personally, every year, I've pretty much made it my business to build around both chipsets just because I don't like to miss much. Plus, we have an upgrade system that works for my loved ones, where we are constantly upgrading and things of that sort. This box had a little bit of a dent into it, and I was concerned about that. Big card, man, big card. We talking about this a big boy. It's a big boy. All right, comes with a brace. Actually, I was just looking just to make sure my stuff wasn't open, even though it was sealed. Crooks get very crafty these days. And it has an adapter. So what I will tell you, I was looking for some colorful booklet with a dragon. In previous iterations, MSI always gave you something like that, some kind of animation. But let me get back to my point. Anyway, this card is going to be going with the AMD side of things. I do have another one of these cards that's Founders Edition that's going to go with the Intel side of the build. And so my previous systems, one in which I'll show you in just a second, will be replaced. This is a big card, but it's a beautiful card. I love it. Get that nice back plate. Looks like the Ventus cards. Here are those ports. You got 3 display ports, 1 HDMI port. I'm reading a lot of comments where people are saying that they're passing on this card because, or this series of cards, because they don't have an upgraded DisplayPort technology on them. I am not here to speak against anyone's preference. We're all allowed to do whatever we would like to do. For me, though, this card is essential because I have gamed in the 4K space since its infancy, right? Since there was a 1080 Ti. Actually, I did that. I did Titan that year. Here's the brace. What this does is this goes under the GPU so that it just kind of sits on here so it doesn't sag. But yeah, I've had 4K monitor for quite some time. And so every year for me, it's been all about making sure that I can game with fluidity. And then when we eventually got like the Asus monitor, I got the 27-inch full array local dimming Asus that was like the first big one that was 4K, 144 Hertz, the G-Sync module with the lights and it lit up, you know what I'm saying? Kind of looked like they had the Asus logo on my ceiling. That junk was pretty fresh. If I have a video of it, I'll try to card it in right now. But yeah, so I've always personally been one that's just tried to like chase that next level, right? And 4K is such an attractive resolution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting at a desk length or if you're at a wide TV length. And now, obviously, if you followed any of the catalog on my channel, you see that I'm into the higher end TVs. They're all in the 4K space. I've not invested into an 8K panel yet. I don't feel like I have a need to because I know that the hardware doesn't exist to really run it. Now, me, I'm more of like a native gamer. I like to game at a native resolution, meaning the stuff is real. It's no internal lower resolution that's upscaling. And so this graphics card, along with AMD, which by the way, I don't buy AMD GPUs, so I'm never the one to talk to about them. There's nothing about an AMD graphics card that is attractive to me. That's just my personal taste. We all should be entitled to that. I go with the green team because it works for me. I digress. The technology that's in here is called Deep Learning Super Sample. They have a newer iteration that right now is specific to this card, though I cannot see why they will not release it for the 3090 Ti, 3090, which I do have those cards. And it essentially makes it where you get a great experience. You know, the internal lower resolution is getting better. It looks a lot better, looks closer to the native stuff, but there's nothing like native, nothing like that real deal Holyfield, right? And so I actually made a comment or response to a comment to a person, Leo, actually, a pretty enthusiastic subscriber of mine, talks about PC stuff from time to time. And I was saying that, hey, man, you know, AAA games, God of War, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, the new Gotham Knights, Spider-Man, like those games are the games that I want to play. I want to be able to sit 10 feet away from, you know, my 65-inch Alpha 95 King. I want to be able to see every detail, turn everything up, right? And this is where this card comes into play. I'm not buying this card because I want to be able to play Cyberpunk at 120 frames in 4K with Deep Learning Super Sample new tech. It is completely against what I am looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to get me my titles that I prefer in the native resolution, right? And so when we get to a point where we're talking about, do you need this graphics card, right? Well, what monitor are you using? That's the number one most important question that you should be asking yourself, okay? Are you intending to play in 1080p? Are you intending to play at a higher frame rate? Are you intending to play games competitively, okay? Because I'll be the first to tell you, this card is way overkill if you are interested in purchasing something for you to be able to play Call of Duty competitively, or Valorant, or League of Legends, or any of those let's call them esports games. This card is just way overkill. It's way overkill. Most of the people that will be playing these games that I just mentioned for money, I'm talking about as a business, probably will be playing them in the space of 24, maybe 27 inch. 1080p is just too pixelated at 27 inch in the desk space, in my personal opinion. So I would say like 24 inch, maybe dual setups or something, or in the ultra wide space. This card is just way overkill. You know, I had a person that asked me if they would recommend this card or which monitor they would recommend for this card. Would it be the C2 or would it be the quantum dot monitor? Keeping in mind, the only quantum dot monitors are ultra wide right now. And what that means is that they're not at a 4K resolution space. They're not. To me, the best ultra wide still is the 38-inch from LG. It's 3840 by 1600. It gives you more pixel density. It looks tighter. That is going to be the best ultra wide, in my opinion. Again, keeping in mind that I'm a graphical whore. When I play my games, I spend the money on the stuff that I buy because I want to get the best fluid experience. Like when I'm looking at it, I need it to look really tight. So if a person's buying this, I really hope that you are getting this for a 16:9 aspect ratio. If you want the best of both worlds, get the G8 Neo. I do have that. It'll be coming back to the channel. Now that we've got this, we'll get it into rotation to get some more stuff tested. That's a 32-inch 4K panel that has the ability to, you know, make itself ultra wide, and it looks really good. Puts you in a really good space where you can see a lot of content, and it's going to look extremely well. So let's have a little discussion about this guy. All right, so we've got unboxing of this, and again, this is not meant to be trending. I'm more about the engagement with my viewership, right? So it's more about having a discussion. But in case you wanted to see what one of these things looked like and you needed like hand reference and so forth, there you have it. We'll have more content coming during the week. Today is Saturday as you'll be seeing this video. So next week we should have some stuff going with this. I do intend to do like some comparisons. I'm not going to do benchmarks and make them graphs kind of like the more professional YouTubers do. It's not my thing. I want to make just more realistic talking points. So I will have some content talking about my experiences with the 3090 versus this, the 3090 Ti versus this. So be prepared for that. I'll start filming that content next week. Let's talk about this graphics card here though, right? This is in GTX 660. Yes, 660. And recently I'll card it in. I've made some content about me purchasing a piece of arcade equipment called a Untitled Type X. My Type X actually has a 4th generation. Keep in mind, we're about to hit 13th generation. It's got a 4th generation Intel i5 processor with an Nvidia Founders Edition 660. This is a Gigabyte 660. So this is how long I've been buying and holding on to this type of stuff. This is 2022 as I'm filming this, guys, and I am absolutely about to use this graphics card, right? Now, this is the other end of the spectrum, and this video is probably going to go past the talking time I said in the beginning, but we got to get this helpful information out here. The reasoning that I'm using this is because it's going to go into a build that absolutely does not need the card that's in it. The build that is currently needing this graphics card currently houses a GTX, or I'm sorry, an RTX from Nvidia Founders Edition 3080 Ti. It's just way overkill. The system, and I'll be making content on it, is actually my Schulich arcade cabinet. I have some nice old equipment in there, and it's a graphics card that's just overkill. That graphics card is definitely for someone that wants to do extremely high 1080p, high frame rate gaming, or they want to do some high frame rate QHD gaming, or they want to get into some 4K gaming, taking advantage of like either native resolution at 60, a little bit above 60, or definitely going beyond 60 with the deep learning super sample. So here we are where we're talking, you know, both ends of the spectrum. Do you need to buy a card like this? Any card like this? It can even be the 3090 Ti, which by the way is at a really good price. However, if you can afford to spend at $1,100, I would wait for like the 80 series of this, 70 series, and see what they have for you. You have to make an executive decision based on a couple of things. It's just like with TVs. You buy your TVs based on a lot of different things. So if you feel like you don't want to be buying sound bars and receivers to get more HDMI ports, you wouldn't buy Sony, you wouldn't buy Panasonic, because they only have 2.1 connections. If you know that you're going to have multiple devices that are 2.1, equip yourself with a TV, or be prepared to buy an external device like a receiver, like I did for my Alpha 95 King. That's going to give you what you need. Or if you're looking for something with lower input latency, get an S95B, get a C2, get a G2, get a C1, get a G1, right? You go after the technology that's going to give you what you personally need. You also, I definitely recommend you buy something for tomorrow. So in 2022, obviously, you wouldn't be buying one of these, but in the system, in the application that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be playing old school emulation. The processor is strong enough in the build that's going to pair with this so that I can capture the game and I can stream from the PC. But from a graphical fidelity perspective, this is more than enough for me playing Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 2, Capcom versus SNK 2, Marvel versus Capcom 2, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Darkstalkers. Those type of games don't require a 3080 Ti. They definitely don't require a 4090 in any resolution. Like, this would be just a waste of money, right? So I wanted to kind of put this out here for you guys. Let me know if I see some engagement, the likes, if the likes are there, if the comments are here, if you guys are telling me, hey, yeah, let's have more discussional videos around like PC stuff. Let me know. I'll come up with some ideas and I'll articulate those ideas. But for today, I wanted to just kind of unbox that and then just show you other end of the spectrum and then talk about like why you would want this or why you would want that, right? So hopefully you guys got everything that I intended to give you on this video. This is your today upload. I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. I appreciate the support. Peace. God bless. Max love.